Hi guys, I hope you're well. I'm going to be talking about a topic which is going to span across two videos. And the first video tonight is talking about a more sensitive side. And then the next video is going to be talking about humour. So it's all in conjunction with PTSD. Okay, so what is my topic? PTSD, how it changes our reactions, how it changes our perceptions of what's going on around us and our environment. This is the part which is very hard to explain to other people. This is the part when someone says, I've got a mental health certificate, so I can train you in the park, I can do this, I can do that. And I say, you don't need that certificate to train me because you will not understand what I'm going through. All you need to do is be, caring when you're with me. So if I get upset about something, let's take a step back. If something's freaking me out a bit, let's take a breath. It's just, I think that's one of the things I talk about. I do say, and I never quite finish the sentence, but I say, I don't need people to understand, sorry, my jewelry. I don't need people to understand what I'm going through because I won't be able to, you can't comprehend something that you haven't experienced to its fullest. You know what I mean? You can have a good idea, but you certainly haven't got the same experience as someone who lives that way, day in, day out, uncompromising. I can't turn around and say, do you know what? I don't have PTSD today. I'm going to jump on a plane and I'm going to go here and I'm going to go to a massive nightclub in Ibiza. Yeah, right. As if I'm going to do that. I don't get to take the hat off and go out. Like, I live like this. So it's very hard to get across the true, full extent of the experience. And so I think what I don't always finish saying is, I don't need you to study me or try and make sense. I've said this to someone close to me actually when they were saying, but why did you have that reaction? But I didn't do this. But, and I said, look, stop trying to rationalize something that's irrational. Stop trying to ground something which is actually, actually needs to be addressed in a different way. Stop trying to make, order from a disorder. That's one of my phrases. Stop trying to make order from my disorder. And it's true. Like, it's like you don't need to stop trying to comprehend it. Just be nice, so if you don't understand and someone's having a bit of a situation, so if you see me, don't shout names at me, don't overcrowd me and say, oh, calm down, or this is what you need. Just leave me alone. I will calm down. I will regulate my breathing. If someone who understands what they see happens to be out and about, great. They can come over and they can, at least be there to keep an eye on me. But if my advice is, I create awareness, not so you can sit there and say, oh yeah, I read a textbook and I understand PTSD and I understand you. No, that's not how it works. I mean, even therapists, doctors, they have a lifetime of learning, so what someone's saying when they start in their profession in their 20s is not what they're saying in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and so on. Your experience grows, the subject that you're or the area you're of specialism you're involved in develops, it changes, new things happen, old things are kind of taken out, and it's like that's just the nature of things. So I don't need you to understand what's going on in my head. I just need you to give me space. And that's all I ask for with PTSD, space, and just let me go through it. I have to go through the cycle and then it stops and then I compose myself. But anyway, we're going off topic here, so I think you'll love the humor one tomorrow. Anyway, so the sensitive one tonight, what I will say is that if you have PTSD, and I'm going to be describing what happened to me, if it gets a bit much, just turn the volume off. And this is a video, you can come back whenever you want if you feel a bit different, but what it is if you have PTSD, you might start visualizing what I am saying, you know what I mean? So I don't want that, because I do that. Now I start visualizing what someone else is saying, and then I can, you know, create this image for myself. So I don't want that to happen. If you're someone who hasn't got PTSD, again, you might find this a bit more challenging, because with PTSD, we've been through trauma, and that's a really extreme, you know, it's the extreme. So sometimes the way that people with trauma express themselves can sound a little bit dark, and that might be quite difficult for you because that's not how you see the world. Whereas someone else who has the condition like me might say, you know, that's kind of where I go with it as well. But they might not. They might say, oh no, it's a bit much. So I think use your mute button and know that I'm not trying to upset you. I'm literally telling you my experience. This is how I live my life, and this is how my brain works, and this is what I have to deal with. So I'm not exposing you to a fiction here to get a reaction or anything like that. I'm telling you my life. Okay, that's so where do we start? Okay, so my brother got me my plush here. I'm going to show you some of my plushes. So he got this one for me. I don't know what statement he was trying to make, but it's super soft, so I really like it. And I keep some of my headbands on it there, and it's smiling, happy, and it sits on my bed. Okay. Then I've got a Pikmin. Oh, well, then I've got a Pikmin. Okay, so this is one of my Nintendo plushes. Yeah. And yeah, so this is my little Pikmin, little flower creature. All right. Rosalina. Well, if you saw my Luigi video, you know how much I love Rosalina. And look, she loves all silver clouds and silver shoes. So I think that's quite impressive. But anyway, look at her. So she's all soft and clean, and that's what I love about plush. Plush is the fabric, and it's super soft. Okay, super soft. All right. So why am I showing you these? This is where it gets a little bit, ooh. Right, so cuddly toys, lovely and clean. That's my lifestyle part finished. Right, the other day I was going for a walk, and it was the evening time, and it was dusk. You know, you could still see what was your surroundings really well. And then, so actually I should start a little further behind. I got in my car and I drove myself to a local area so I could go for a walk. So I did that. And as I was driving, I saw the toys, like some toys. So, okay, so where I live, we've got a lot of fields, and we've got like a little walkway. So where I drove to go and do my walk, what you can actually do as well is you can walk. I live on a lot of hills, but you can walk down, cut through these fields, and they've got a proper pathway that connects it, and then you come out at the other end and you can go off to where I've driven to, basically. And I've been going through there like my whole life, and it's just literally you have the horses on either side, and then just like fencing. It's like you know, it's not barbed, it's kind of just like, you know, insulated wire, as I recall. And I was just like, oh no, because I saw these teddy bears. I was like, oh no. And I thought, I'm going to go for my walk. And so I went for my walk, and then when I decided though on the way back I'd go and I'd stop, because I was like, something bad's happened. So I walked so I parked my car, and then I walked back to the field, which is now on the side opposite to where I'd been out. Okay, you know, it's on my way going home. I walked to the field, and at the entrance there was all these teddy bears, like all different types of teddy bears, and they were all like with string. They were strung to the fence. So it's like this. Hang on, I've got some ribbon here, I think. Yeah, I've got some ribbon. Okay, so it's like they'd taken root. So it's like loads of little like plushes and toys all along the fence. And they'd gone quite a way actually. So they were like probably 2 meters worth. And they were just hanging there, tied like that to the fence. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And it just really overwhelmed me, because obviously with PTSD, you know, for a lot of us, it's the trauma, isn't it? And so some of us might be connected to that through bereavement. And so I was just so overwhelmed, and I was just like, oh my gosh, you know, this poor child. Wow, there's so many toys. And I saw some bits of paper kind of attached to the fence, and it's on both sides as well. So you're walking through this, so it's kind of encapsulating you. It's not like they're all along the wall and you can just kind of take a step back. You're literally walking through a pathway of all these like teddy bears and stuff up against the fence. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So, you know, I felt really upset. I thought, local child, what's happened to them? You know, like, so I want to pay my respects. And then I thought, I'm going to have a read of some of the notes. It's, you know, it's a remembrance thing, isn't it? If you read out the note and you're saying their name aloud, and you're, you know, whatever it is, you might be like saying thank you, like reading out whatever the message is, and, you know, just paying respect. And I read the message, and it said, like, this is our teddy bear collection, and this is the teddy bear walk or something. And I was just like, what? I don't know. I didn't stand there like, what? I was in tears, because literally I thought that something had happened to a child, and my heart had stopped. Okay, so with PTSD, you know, our symptoms, you know, the fight or flight, literally my heart had frozen, my body had frozen. I was like, oh my god, something awful's happened. And I started ticking, and so I'm not really setting the scene. It's not like I just strolled over. I was ticking, and I was like, oh my god. And I'm surrounded by all these bears and like teddy bears and things that are all tied to both sides of these fences. And I'm just like, this is horrible. And yeah, and as I said, I read the sign, and it was like, oh yeah, the teddy bear walk. I was just like, are you joking? I stopped my car and parked it because I thought something horrendous has happened, and you've tied bears to a fence. And like, what it looks like, okay, so, you know, it's like, so this is just ribbon. They had like rope and string and stuff. Look, that's Rosalina, all nice, and her dresses, you know, hanging. Look at her now, tied to a fence. Do you know what I mean? Why would I want to tie her around the neck and put her on a fence? I just found it so creepy, so macabre. And I think one of the worst things as well is that I've also watched, there was some people who were exploring in the woods, and they went to this wood, and it's in the UK. I really can't remember where it is, but some really macabre people had come along, and they'd got all these dolls. So it's like Barbies and, you know, like children's dolls, and they'd like put duct tape over their mouth, and like kind of like taken, you know, it was just crazy stuff. Put them in like kind of really Gothic style clothes in some cases, hung them from the tree by the throat. So this is the thing. So I've not only seen that, and that's somewhere, if you go walk, I'm not telling you where, I can't remember, I'm not going to look it up, but it's in the UK. And if you, see, I watched it because someone knew about it and they went to look for it. So that was, I was watching their video. But the reason why I then looked online, it was in the newspaper, like probably a few months ago. And this woman had discovered it because she was a man or a woman, not really important, is it? But there was a dog walker and they're walking their dog and they kind of walked into this part of the forest and they were, or the woods, and they were like all these dolls hanging around. But it wasn't like a collection. It was like they were all, you know, as I said, tied up and in these really like disturbing kind of positions and stuff. And so for me to see the teddy bears tied to the fence, I found that disturbing in itself. But I could only assume someone would do that because something terrible had happened. So my body went through the whole range, you know, like hyper, just, and it took me ages to calm down. I was outraged. I was just like, how could someone take me to that level? And then I come back down. Do you know how I would have reacted normally? Say I didn't have that bodily reaction, I probably would have said, oh God, this is so weird, but you know what? I'm glad no one died. But because I've got this condition, I'm like, how could someone twist that to make me, you know, so that people like myself could have that kind of connection? Why would that exist? You know, why does it exist? And just to contextualize it a little further, I wrote a message to someone today who had written up a rather, I found it quite cutting the way they spoke. And I'm not mentioning names. I don't want anyone to find anyone. I don't want anyone to look anyone up. I find it really disturbing when people video other people and then just put it online and criticize them. I don't want anyone to find anything that I use as a topic, just because I'm working this out in my own head and I'm also working it out with you, but I'm not trying to tell other people they can't have their opinion. I think it's quite interesting to contextualize it though. You know, so obviously people had done this on a sunny day and they thought, oh, it'll be nice, right? I've come, you know, I was out this evening. I didn't go near it actually, but what I can say is it's been rainy, it's muddy around here. You know, it's kind of been sunny and then it's been really hard raining, and I haven't been down there, but I can just imagine if Rosalina was sitting in the garden getting rained on for like a couple of days while she's tied to a tree, I don't imagine she's going to smell good, and I don't imagine she's going to be very plush anymore. So anyway, so my opinion was, do you know what, I thought that was really freaky. I hope it doesn't stay there for long, and I'm not going to go there anymore. But this is what kind of got me going today. So this guy kind of said, he had obviously put his bear up. My thoughts and prayers with my friend, the bear, after his son was savagely removed from the, I don't want to say the name, let's say the teddy bear's picnic. I don't want you to find, you know what I mean? I don't want anyone to get upset. Look, so this is what he said. So this is someone, okay, who's put a bear into this. Let me start from the beginning, because basically my phone just switched off. My thoughts and prayers are with my friend, the bear, after his son was savagely removed from the teddy bear's picnic and executed. May we live in more peaceful times. And I was just like, not only is this person part of this display, which made me think someone had died, but he now talks about a bear that's, I don't know, it might have been the council that came along. You know, what if the bear was like all manky? You don't want kids touching that. You know, maybe a dog ripped it down because it was like, oh, look, let's play with the. Do you know what I mean? So this person has felt the need to go on a very public place and talk about how this bear, his bear that he left out in the street tied to a fence, has been savagely removed and executed. I mean, oh my gosh. So the fact that I would have a reaction, look at how he describes it. So macabre, so not a childlike thing, you know, so disturbing. Anyway, so I'll tell you what my comment was. Why did you put your bear on a fence? I personally live with a mental illness, and when I saw the bears hanging on the fence, I thought a local child had died, and I got overwhelmed with emotion. What a strange display for an adult to put on. It's rather macabre. You know, and I completely see it. It's like when my normal reaction would be, oh, no one died. Well, it's just weird. But because I have to go through this, you know, like, whoa, I can't comprehend why that has to happen. Of all the things that in all the years that I've lived in this area, that's never happened unless someone's been, you know, there's been a road accident or something and you see flowers out. That's the only time I've ever seen that in where I live in my entire life. So someone would probably read my response and say, how reactionary, because they don't know what it's like, A, to live with a mental illness, but B, how was I meant to interpret that situation? These manky wet bears tied to a fence. You know, that's not what I thought. That I thought it was a memorial, but they've been tied to the fence now for like probably the best part of like maybe a month. Who comes up with this nonsense? Could they not have taken their teddy bears to school and made a teddy bear display? You know, but I'm angry more than you could say just walk away. But I now won't go down that piece of that pathway because it's freaked me out so much. And you could say, oh, calm down. Then you don't understand PTSD and what it can do to you in terms of your perceptions and in terms of how an environment can really throw you off balance. And I don't think it's unreasonable that when you see that kind of display and you've never seen anything like it before, other than in memorial, that would be what you might think, coupled with the fact that I've got a condition which I do find myself having, you know, thoughts. Of course I do. Of course I do. When you've experienced trauma, so when you've experienced love and joy in the world, you want to live, don't you? It's everything. It's amazing. Life is great. When you've experienced trauma and pain that you can't contextualize, and you start perceiving things and becoming almost like where a lot of other people can't even relate to you. They don't know what to do with you or what to say, and they can't see what you see. You know, then you, of course, you go through the dark as well as the funny or whatever. So I just I'm not making a comment about that person. I did to him, but that's because of the way that he presented himself as execution and stuff like that. And I was just like, well, I had a serious reaction. And I actually think that for me, I think that reaction to your bear going missing when it's out in the public, tied to a fence, you've given up control of what happens to it. I find that a very strange and overwhelming, an intense reaction. So I kind of felt like I could match this person in terms of where we would speak, what level we spoke to each other. But I certainly am not trying to correct them. I'm not trying to suck the joy out of something. I am just giving that other perspective of how someone else experiences things in the world. Okay, so I think I've basically made my point there. Just how, I guess, going into that path, how it was all consuming, it was overwhelming, I was surrounded, it was triggering trauma cycle, thinking about bereavement and loss, and and I'm not saying that we need to paint the world black because some of us go through depression and things like that, far from it. if you watch my last video, I was talking about how I went into a gym which was painted all black. I was just like, no way, I can't do this. I was like, no way. I need big windows, I need sunshine. Because when I'm moving, that's when I'm feeling good, and that's when the sunshine and the, you know, and it can elevate my moods and my perception, and I feel that love and joy, you know. But 20 minutes later, I can literally be in like dark zone. So that's why I'm very keen to have bouncy music. I try not to expose myself to things that I know are going to make me sad. I've got enough things that kind of set me off in the day that are unexpected, sounds, you know, smells, all this stuff. I don't need added toppings, extras, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, again, as I'm saying, I'm not criticizing anyone. I'm just literally trying to kind of show the experience and kind of why it may look a bit strange if you see someone like me, because you're like, why is she falling to her knees? Like, no, when she could just keep walking. And that's what I do with most things in life. You know, if I don't like something, I'm like, it's not for me, I'm off. If it's not hurting someone else and it doesn't interest me, then I'm like, I don't need to get involved. So, but yeah, who knows? Maybe this person will come to my fitness class one day and we can have a really great, joyous moment together. There you go. We've ended on a positive note. Anyway, as I said, in the next video, we're talking about humour. It is going to be dark humour. It is going to be acerbic, let's say. But at the same time, it's good to see someone who's been through trauma have a smile on their face. So I'm going to embarrass myself and show, well, I'm not going to embarrass myself, but I am going to show you who got me out of some of my, he gave me a break from my thoughts. I think you'll be surprised. So yeah, can't wait to tell you more. All right then, take care. And if you have PTSD, as always, I would love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to know what situations you've been in. And next time I'll be looking forward to hearing all about what makes you laugh and what gets through to you. Okay, awesome. I'll see you soon. All right, bye.